Humanity is bound to change more in the next 20 years than in all of human history. We can't predict the changes. Every day becomes an invitation to prepare for the future we want to build. Highways without drivers. Education without classrooms. Healthcare without doctors. 2 billion jobs will come and go, freeing up talent for many new, unknown, burgeoning industries. The first hurricane may be stopped entirely by human intervention. It'll be common to use next-generation search engines to search the physical world. And basic computer programming will be considered a core skill required in most jobs. That's what the world ahead will look like. Where the world goes is up for debate, but how we prepare for it is not. Cloud computing, big data, analytics, artificial intelligence, the Internet of Things, and more. Oracle, the world's most complete cloud company, will be there.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Senior Vice President, Technology and Systems Business, Andrew Sutherland.
Good morning. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and a warm welcome to Day 2 of Oracle Open World India. This morning, we're going to focus on making your digital business a reality. How do we make a digital business a reality? And to discuss that, we've gathered together some of the best brains, not only within India, but from around the globe, to be with us on this stage this morning. So if you think it's hot outside, it's going to be even hotter on this stage with all this brain power being generated here to discuss with us digital transformation. We're going to begin by speaking to one of the leading lights in transformation, one of the most innovative banks, not only in India, but in the globe. We'll be privileged to have Munish, who is this Chief Information Officer and Head of IT, come and discuss with us how they are progressing on this journey. He's going to talk with us about how to select which projects will actually help you progress towards your goal. He's going to discuss with us the role of the Chief Information Officer, and he's going to share his thoughts with us about some of the latest and newest technologies on the block. Wow, plenty to absorb there. So time to get these neurons fired up, get these spindles spinning. Because if that's not enough, he will be followed by the most talented engineer of his generation, without any doubt. I've had the privilege to know India's own Thomas Kurian for 20 years now, and Thomas, Head of Development in Oracle, will be taking us through the complete Oracle platform, the vehicle that can take us to digital transformation. And he's going to do so in 60 minutes. Wow. Wow. Now, those of us within Oracle know that if you're going to have a conversation with Thomas, you need to warm up first. You need to get your brain moving first. Just like a workout, if you don't warm up, you could injure yourself. So we need to get our brains going, ready for Thomas. And if that's not enough, we've got John Fowler, erstwhile of Sun, now of course of Oracle. And John is the guy who knows what is behind that cloud logo. That big puffy cloud we know is not, of course, water vapor. We know you need major compute and storage power. And John's going to be speaking to us about the transformational technology that Oracle uses to build its cloud, but you, of course, can also use to build yours if you so wish. What a morning we have ahead of us. So I thought perhaps the best thing little old me could do is maybe try and help warm us up with a little exercise, a little quiz to get the neurons moving. You ready for that? Maybe, excellent, getting some nods there. Maybe a riddle. You've got to guess what I'm thinking of, okay? You've got to try and guess what I'm thinking of. No, I'm going to give you clues, okay? I know she's saying I'm thinking of Scotland. I'm always thinking of Scotland, that's true, but I'm going to give you some clues. What am I thinking of, as well as Scotland? What I'm thinking of collects information through millions of sensors in parallel. The sensors can record force, impact, waveforms in audio and video. The sensors have edge computation as well, so that it can act immediately on key events and store not every byte, but only key information. Okay? As an Internet of Things of some sort, something with a sensor network, millions of sensors, and edge capability. What am I thinking of? What I'm thinking of also, of course, stores that information, petabytes of that information, and stores it in an associative manner. So if you ask a question or a query according to a particular topic, more information will come back related to that topic. It's stored in a schema, but if new vectors are found, if new clusters of information are found, identifiable groupings of new data, the schema will be automatically extended. The schema is also enriched by inter-process communication with other systems. So the data is enriched, and it enriches other systems' data as well. So whatever is learned about one particular cluster of information can be enhanced by other sources, collaboratively through integration. But what's the point of all of that acquisition and storage? Of course it's secure, well managed, but it's used to generate value. Because this system is also capable of deriving insights from that information. It doesn't just store the data, it derives insights automatically, and more importantly, can take actions on the basis of these insights automatically. It's spotted a pattern, spotted something that's happened, spotted patterns which have been created over the last weeks, months, years, and can now take an action on the basis of that pattern. And best of all, perhaps, you're bound to take a photograph and you've got my hand in my pocket. Would you please take photographs when my hands are not in my pockets? Last of all, this system is able to use its intelligence to predict. It can predict the output of a given action on the basis of all of this information that it's taken in and stored, edge processed, analyzed, made insights. It can actually predict, at this point in time, would this action be better or worse outcome than that action? What a valuable system. Internet of Things, the entire Oracle Cloud Platform, Exa Cloud Machine, Oracle Cloud Machine and an Exa Cloud Machine, BI Cloud Services. I can guarantee nobody in this room has guessed what I'm thinking of. I can guarantee I'm thinking of my mother. That's my mum. A little old lady at home in Scotland, hopefully asleep in her bed right now. But when she's awake, she gathers huge amounts of information through all of these sensors. She's a doctor, she's a medical doctor. She watches patients the minute they enter the door. She listens to what they say, she takes their pulse, and she accumulates that information. She stores it in a schema. That schema was given to her in 1950 in Edinburgh University, because that's what they do in university. They give you a schema to hold that information. She extends the schema as she learns more, as she gets older and makes more observations. But most importantly, she uses it to create value for people around her. She uses that information to make decisions, to take actions, to advise her patients what to do, what not to do. Do more of this, you're more likely to live longer. Do less of that, you're more likely to live longer. And perhaps the ultimate value, she can predict. She uses all of that big data information to predict and say, if we at this point give you this medicine, you'll live for longer. If we give you that medicine, you're less likely to do. It's a very, very valuable thing to be doing. It's also very cost effective. My mum's not paid that much, and she's certainly low power consumption. Round about 2,000 calories a day, I think, and living in Scotland, cooling is not much of an issue. In fact, when I go home at Christmas, Mum, if you're watching on the video, Mum, it's the heating that's the problem, not the cooling. And she's compact, 60 kilos and 5'2". Although last time I looked, 5'1", she seems to be getting smaller. And maybe that's where the problem is, because my mum is actually retiring. All of that knowledge and accumulated information, expertise, is going offline. Wouldn't it be amazing if we in technology could help 21-year-old people with their enthusiasm and their ambition to be as valuable and as able as somebody who has 70 years of experience, whether you're in medicine or accounting or technology or engineering, whatever subject. Wouldn't it be fantastic if in technology we could help do that? Better still, rather than one individual. We all know we work better as teams and groups and organizations. Whether we gather together to serve the public and the citizen in a public body, or we gather together in a private company to serve our customers. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could make our organizations be as smart and as valuable as my little old mum? To accumulate the information and the data around them, not just to see data as a byproduct of audit, but something which is to be valued and acquired because there lies the root of value. To then be able to manage that data securely and effectively and to enrich it and share it with other sources. Maybe even purchasing data as a service to enrich it better, to in turn take better decisions and predict all the more accurately. Because in business, a good prediction is the route to productivity. Predict the right action and you spend less time doing the wrong thing. Less time designing a product people don't want. Less time buying products that you don't need. More time doing the right thing. Prediction is the route to productivity. Prediction comes from being able to manage a digital business. It's time I used my clicker. A lot of our customers are taking this journey, are transforming themselves digitally and recognizing this opportunity. The advent of what we would call perhaps consumer cloud, Internet of Things, the chips in my car, the device in my pocket, they've made this a possibility. Eyes and ears, it's made it a possibility to have a digitally smart business. But enterprise cloud computing, whether private cloud or public cloud, enterprise cloud computing gives the possibility of turning that into reality. But what's required? Well, we could list a lot of things. But to try and bring it down for just this morning, what we need and what we observe we need, and all of our customers need, and we Oracle ourselves have needed, is both a platform and a path. A platform is a vehicle. It's just a vehicle to take us somewhere. Everybody's racing towards digital transformation. Why use your feet when you could be in a fast vehicle? You inherit the characteristics of a vehicle. If it goes faster, you go faster. If it's more functional, you're more functional. If it's more secure, you're more secure. You inherit the components of a platform. You rise with it as it rises, and it will take you on your journey more quickly. Thomas is going to describe for us in detail the platform we need to become a digital business. But we also need a path, because this is still relatively uncharted territory. There are some roads, but you need a path which starts where you are. What's the point of a path that starts somewhere else and you have to spend ages getting there? We need a path that starts where we are, takes us to our destination of business transformation, and goes the way we want to go. For example, Oracle started by modernizing with SAS, and many of you have probably done so. You're using software as a service, you're using SaaS, and that's been your first move into the cloud. You can save a lot of money, you can reinvest, it gives you greater flexibility, faster update time, etc. You're in the cloud with SaaS. But it doesn't take long before you start to think, oh, I could do more with this. I could do more. One of our biggest customers recently bought our ERP and very quickly wanted to extend it so that they could have their own self-service and their own a mobile capability added onto it. Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if the same platform I adopt for my journey could take me the whole way? Take my journey without changing horses, without changing vehicles. I've done my SaaS. Don't take a new vehicle for the extension and the self-service. Don't take a new vehicle for the next piece beyond. Be able to use the same vehicle the entire journey. Maybe you've begun as a startup, you've got some fantastic mobile application. Maybe you've used some open source, but you'll need a platform below that. By all means, open source development, but on a platform below that. It won't be long if you're successful as a startup with your fantastic mobile app. You'll want to take that in production. And that production will want to be big, fast. Why are we waiting? Why are we only making it live in India? Let's make it live across the globe. We want rapid switch to production. Then we want to do analytics on top of that, and ultimately towards chatbots. Wouldn't it be great to have a platform that could take you from start to finish? You don't need to stop and change. A little bit of this here, a little bit of that here. Nope. Maybe you're doing lift and shift. This is a popular way of starting the journey to the cloud. This is very popular. Take a known and loved application that you have, a workload running on Oracle, and move that into the Oracle Cloud, running on our infrastructure, using our IaaS and indeed our PaaS. You can save a lot of money and get quickly into the cloud just doing lift and shift. A lot of people do. It might not be long before you think, I could do more than that. Now I've moved that workload, I want to integrate it. I want to run business intelligence reports. I want to make it mobile. I want to even potentially use SaaS modules. Wouldn't it be great if you could use the same platform for lift and shift all the way through, not changing horses during your journey? You might start your cloud journey right under your feet, on your own premises. It might be quite right to do so for many reasons. Wouldn't it be great if you would have the option of moving into the cloud, out of the cloud, and maybe even having cloud services on your premises? Wouldn't it be fantastic to have a cloud platform where the hardware was the exact same hardware as you have on premises to being able to use in the cloud, and the exact same software as you could have on premises or have in the cloud? Wouldn't that be a powerful platform to help you on your journey? We're all on our journeys. Everybody, I'm sure, in this room is in some way starting on maybe one of these or different paths. And some of us will be tremendously successful and some perhaps less so. Some of us will enjoy the journey. Some may find it terrifying. Some will be very fast moving and forward looking, others less so. Wouldn't it be fantastic to spend a few minutes with the leader of an organization acknowledged as being the most prodigious innovator in this space, globally a tremendous leading light in pathfinding the way towards digital business? When I first visited my guest this afternoon, I went to his offices. I couldn't find anywhere to put my iPad down because every Surface has got so many awards for innovation, and every single Surface. Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's give a warm welcome to Munish Mittal for joining us on stage. Munish, please. Okay so far? Please. Digital native. No paper for me. Munish, thank you so much for joining us today. I know we're all looking forward very much to hearing what you have to say. Munish, as I mentioned, you work in an extraordinary organization. I was doing my background research on this, and the website, your press releases are just continual, from loans within 10 seconds to digital literacy projects. There's a continual flow of innovation in your organization. I know you're modest, but there is. There is. Munish, you must have to choose between different projects. Surely a big part of your job is, what do you invest in? There must be a list as long as your arm. How do you know where to go?
Well, thank you, Andrew, first of all, for having me here, and good morning. Good morning, Delhi. Good morning, India. It's a pleasure to be here, and thank you to Oracle for having me here. Especially, I'm amazed with the passion Safra is continuously bringing to India, and it's an amazing feeling to have Oracle Open Word in the country. Yeah. And I must thank entire Oracle to bring Oracle Open Word to India for the first time. Coming to your question, Andrew, I think the right answer cost you $1 million, but I'll give it a shot in any case, right? There are three ways to look at prioritization.
Yeah.
I think first and foremost way is for any CIO to drive the strategy from the managing director's vision.
Right.
If a CIO drives the strategy from managing director's vision, it's very easy that you're following revenue, you are following customer experience, you are following customer centricity, and you are following cost optimization. So the moment you have focus on these four, it's very easy to prioritize.
Okay.
That what do you want to spend your energy, time, and resources in. I think the second lens to look at prioritization is what is the need of the market? What is the government driving as agenda? What is the regulator driving as agenda? You know, if you are not relevant today, then you can spend all the time in long-term projects, and you know, the market won't wait for you.
No.
So you have to do what the market needs today, what your organization needs today. And the third one, I think the most important one I would like to suggest to everybody, at least that's what we try and practice, that pick up all those very small things which can be done in 48 hours, 72 hours, 1 week, which are little improvements. For example, we had a lot of feedback coming from our customers that it's difficult to access our mobile banking app. You have to enter a customer ID, you have to enter a password, you have to then choose your risk identification, and so on and so forth. And we solve that problem by very simply putting together something called a quick access PIN. You give a 4-digit PIN, device is fingerprinted, you are in. Now that improves the experience of the customer dramatically. So if you focus on the customer experience, which can be done in like 48 hours, small things, it's very easy to prioritize if you put it in these three buckets.
Fascinating. And in many ways you can see that that's what we see as consumers, isn't it? We see every morning updates to our apps and there's little improvements that make life easier and keep us with that app, and you're applying the same concept to enterprise and consumer computing. So I took from that aligning with the business, customer experience, revenue, regulatory, anything that's urgent, which is a fascinating, that's a fascinating change perhaps from our predecessors 30 years ago. We're moving at such a pace. If it needs to be done now, it needs to come to the front of the queue, and these micro improvements. Munish, another one I wanted to ask you, and I'm sure the audience will be interested, I hope the audience will be interested in this, I'm sure they will be. Over the years, the role of the CIO in particular has been scrutinized, and we've heard many comments about it's coming and going, and it's dead, it's alive, it's dead again, it's alive again. All the power and money sits somewhere else. No, you're a real live CIO. How do you see the role in digital transformation for CIO?
Well, you know, you had a grand rocking opening, and you mentioned one statement that the basic computer programming skill will be the core skill required by every human being on planet Earth, right? And who knows programming better than a chief technology officer or a chief information officer? I think that's the basic skill which a CIO brings to the table.
Should be the CIO.
And in the world where every business is actually a technology business, broking is a technology business in the disguise of technology. Banking is a technology business, airlines, transportation, logistics, everything is a technology business. When an organization has to talk to this from a collaboration perspective, to all these various stakeholders in the ecosystem of doing your business, which is like banking for me, you need core technology skills. And that core technology skills can be brought to the table only by the CIO. It can't be brought to the table by the chief marketing officer or the chief financial officer or the chief digital officer. So I think the CIOs need not worry. The role of CIO isn't going away anywhere, right? We are in one business where we have lifetime of hunger taken care of for our many generations to come. And I think I'd like to add one more thing to that. It is also a business imperative that CIO has to bring to the table. For example, when you're dealing with e-commerce players as a bank, when you're dealing with digital giants as a bank, I think nobody better than CIO is positioned to drive the agenda of doing business. with these partners in the ecosystem.
Okay, it's doing business like in any other way, but you need to know what you're buying and how you're interacting with these partners. So again, it's the skill and the knowledge that's required. A related question, which I think you've probably answered this in part already, but I'll take it from a slightly different angle. On the journey towards digital transformation, what sort of pitfalls do you see? What sort of dangers lie ahead for our audience here that perhaps, in particular, the CIO is best qualified to watch out for?
Interesting. I think I'm not sure if all of us understand what is the meaning of a true digital. Yesterday, I think there was a report by that Constellation Research put that if 20% of your revenues by 2020 or 2026, I think one of the two years he mentioned, are not coming from the artificial intelligence, from analytics, then you're not in digital business.
Not really digital.
I think very few people understand this aspect of digital, and therefore there are many pitfalls in the journey. Many people think, for example, digital as a layer on the glass.
Yes, just a portal on the front.
Just a UI is not digital, whether on the mobile phone or on the tablet. Just a very well-designed user experience with a nice workflow is not digital, right? I think digital is all about scale. If you cannot draw economies of scale from being in digital transformation, you better not do anything called digital, right? So the pitfalls are people usually ignore something called the glue, which sits behind this layer on the glass, which is called middleware, right? And people also, I think, in the process tend to think maybe core banking is passé. Maybe core banking is no more required. You can do everything digital in the front. But I think a lot of people need to pay attention to the fact that end of the day, a transaction gets consummated inside core banking. End of the day, it's a savings account which gets debited or credited. It's a checking account which gets debited, credited. So you need to build a scale. I think availability of the core banking, the agile middleware, which should give you ability to create derivatives of your product in the front end, is as important as the layer on the glass. So I think these are some of the pitfalls which people should avoid, not just focus on the front end, but go right deep. There's one more thing I want to say. I think there is, most time, we don't understand digital in the context of culture. If there is no digital culture in the organization, if there is no enterprise-wide involvement of every stakeholder inside the organization, then you cannot be claiming to be in digital business. So I think focusing on people all on board is very important.
I think these are very profound points, and there's so many easy things we could say, you know, to watch out for a digital journey. But here, what I'm picking up, Munish, is an underlying message. This is a profound journey, and it's easy to put a bit of paint or a pane of glass on top, say that is absolutely not digital. The glue underneath, the use of the data, is absolutely key, the comments on our platform, and also the entire organization absorbing this. It's not enough to have one fancy front end to an application somewhere else. So really, I think that underlines what a profound change it is. Munish, you and I are both very obviously very young men. And
Thank you.
You know, we're just at the start, I'm sure, of our careers. And even in our short careers, we've seen a huge amount of innovation and new technologies coming in, whether it's mobile phones, smartphones, etc. More recently, there's been, obviously, as you mentioned already, artificial intelligence, chatbots, innovations that appear on the edge. May I ask, what's your view of these? You're a highly professional individual in a highly professional organization. Do you dismiss these things as some nonsense, or are they to be taken seriously?
Oh, I'm glad you asked it. I don't think there is, even in any conventional wisdom, you can dismiss anything called artificial intelligence or chatbots. Let me call it, in a larger bucket of analytics.
Yeah.
I think anything under the umbrella of analytics, as we already heard yesterday, that analyst from Constellation Research, 20% revenue. I would say if 40 to 50% of your revenues are not coming by using analytics in your business, you will be soon out of business because everybody else is using it. Everybody else is able to drive revenues for your organization out of analytics. I'll give you one example. Our 10-second loan product is 100% analytics. To about 25 to 30% of our customers, there is a pre-approved 4-second credit to their account offer available for this 10-second loan. We actually do it in 4. Now, when we launched it in February, March last year, we got the entire year's revenue from personal loans in the first quarter. That's the power of analytics.
Yeah.
I think that's one part of analytics not to be dismissed.
Absolutely.
I think the part 2, all of us like to play games. Everybody wants to play some kind of games.
A human trait.
Chatbots is an amazing, very amazing engagement platform.
Yep.
It is the new browser.
Yep. It
Right?
locks your attention.
The old-time browser is gone. Your new browser is your chatbot. People love to live inside Messenger.
Yeah.
People love to live inside chatbot. It can, act very funny with you.
Yeah.
Right? So people love to be teased. So I think it's a good way to not just gather attention, but also engage. We've launched something called digital commerce inside chatbots. I think it has to be a core element of the CIO strategy. So it cannot be rushed away.
This is real stuff. This is real stuff. Munish, we're going to have to close there. I'm sure the audience and I would love to go on all night, but I'm afraid we'll have to close it there. So ladies and gentlemen, can you please join me in thanking Munish so much for joining us here today. Thank you so much. Please just stay there. Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much to Munish. I hope I've managed to warm you up, ready for what's coming now. I also hope I'm being able to spend a few minutes describing to you the importance of a platform to take you on your journey to digital business. You'll now hear that from Thomas, how a platform is important to take you on different pathways. But perhaps there's one other thing that I should mention, not just the platform, not just the path. There is something else which makes a journey much more enjoyable, much more likely to reach your destination, much more likely to be successful. And that's a partner on that journey. Preferably a partner who's done a similar journey themselves, maybe a partner that's done it with many other organizations as well. I would ask you, if I may, not only to consider Oracle's platform and our paths to help you to digital transformation, but to consider us as being your partner also. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your attention this morning. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President Product Development Oracle, Thomas Kurian.
Good morning. Thank you for that warm welcome. It's a great pleasure to be here with all of you here in New Delhi. We at Oracle have been working on a new set of product capabilities. We started that work 10 years ago in 2007. And we had a very simple vision then. Imagine if we could take our capabilities in infrastructure, in our technology platform, and in application software, and make it available to every person and every company in the world at the end of a browser. And companies here in India, whether they are small companies or large companies, government institutions, students in universities, all they needed is a browser or a phone, and they could access the system. They didn't need a data center. They didn't need to buy computers. They need to have a big staff of people who know how to operate it. And the heart of that is what we worked on these last 10 years to deliver to you through our cloud. Now, Oracle's cloud consists of these 4 pieces: infrastructure, platform, software applications as a service, and data as a service. And today I'm going to show you some of the new capabilities we have, and you'll also hear short segments of customers who are actually using this technology today to transform the way they run their businesses. Here are the regions around the world in which we offer our cloud-based services. The first important announcement that we want to make today is that Oracle is now opening a data center within the next 12 months to bring our cloud-based services here in India. There's been so much demand for our cloud-based services that we're now seriously evaluating bringing them here to serve companies and the government in India. And so the first important announcement is that we will be opening a data center to offer these services here in the Indian market. If you look at our regions, they support a common infrastructure layer. And if you look at each location, we offer a variety of different services. Okay? Infrastructure consists of network, compute, storage, and a variety of other services. What are we really trying to enable you to do? We assemble very large pools of hardware, connect them together in a data center, and expose that through an API, allowing you as a customer to create through a graphical user interface or through an API. You can set up a virtual data center running in our cloud. That's the heart of infrastructure as a service. Now, within our data center regions, in every region, we have 3 data centers. They're on separate power grids, separate fault domains, so that even if one of them goes down, you still have a highly available environment with 2 data centers operation. The network in these data centers is very wide and flat. We support over 10 gigabit Ethernet down to the machines, and in a location like Frankfurt, which we just opened last week, we have 3 million network ports, each serving 10 gigabits. So it's an extremely large-scale data center. Now, within the data center, if you want to connect your data center with your existing systems up to our cloud, we can connect it in a variety of different ways. You can connect it over VPN. You can connect it over something called VPC, where our data center looks like an extension of your corporate network. We also have partnerships with a number of telephone companies to allow you to connect with a very big 10 gigabit Ethernet pipe into our data center over something called MPLS. It allows you to buy a private network from your telephone company and connect up to the cloud where your traffic does not go over the internet. So once you get into the cloud, first of all, your traffic, your network traffic is isolated from every other company's network traffic in a private network, which is fully virtualized, so your communication from your data center to your cloud-based services are fully isolated from every other company, giving you the best security. On top of this, we have very high-performance compute and storage servers. So you can start with, I just want a raw physical server. We call that bare metal. You can configure hypervisors. or you can configure a technology called Docker. You can also configure storage of various kinds. Now, how fast do these machines run? On a single physical processor, a single server, we support 36 cores of compute, and you can service 1 terabit per second of data processing on that. So that's an extremely, very, very, very fast system. So, infrastructure as a service. We give you large-scale data centers. On top of that, we define an ultra-modern, very fast network, and then allow you to configure compute, storage on top of it. We've certified over 1,000 open source offerings on top of this. And with our platform and infrastructure, we've also, the second important announcement today, we have certified the Oracle, the India stack. So for example, if you're a customer building an application on our infrastructure or platform, and you want to allow customers to use their Aadhaar card as an authentication mechanism, you can do that. If you want to support the unified payment interface, you can use that. If you want to use us for a secure lockbox, what we call the digital locker, you can do that. We support 5 different capabilities of the Oracle, of the India stack, integrated into our cloud infrastructure and platform. We're much faster and much cheaper than the competition. This data comes from a customer. They did a measurement of us against Amazon and found we're 20% cheaper and much faster, 10 to 12 times faster. Here are customers using our infrastructure around the world. Let's hear from one of them, Tippett Studio, the company that made Jurassic Park and made Star Wars. Let's hear how they use our cloud.
Kinds of things that we're being asked to create are bigger, harder, more storage is actually needed to store those things. For the business, it means that we need to be able to manage all of that data more fluidly and do it in a way that is easy and powerful.
But when we are seeing this kind of a demand, it's very difficult to acquire those components and maintain it in-house. For Tippett Studio, Amazon was out of reach since we generate lots and lots of data. Bottom line, Amazon would cost us 10x more, and this was totally out of our reach.
The Oracle Cloud won by a mile. The affordability, the accessibility, and really the stability of Oracle Cloud stood out beyond everything else, and to us it was a no-brainer.
So let me show you how easy it is to set up an infrastructure in our cloud. Okay? So you come in, you have an account with our cloud, you sign on with a username and password. Once you sign in, the first thing we ask you to do is to create a compartment. And compartment is a private user space for your users, which isolates the security for those applications from other systems. So we're going to set up a compartment. We've said there are 2 existing ones. We're going to create a 3rd one. We call that the demo compartment. We created that. And once you create that, the next thing you're going to do is set up a virtual network. Think of it as the network into which you tie all your compute and storage. So I'm going to create a cloud network, virtual cloud network. I can specify as part of that my IP address range that I want to be used in the cloud. So I set that up. I'm also going to set up some of these applications to talk to the internet. So I'm going to create what's called an internet gateway, which takes the applications running on this virtual network and makes it accessible on the internet. I created one. Now I'm going to create something called subnets. Subnets are partitioning this big network into private networks, so we can create one, or you can create many of them so that you can isolate workload on different subnets. Now that I've created that, I want to attach, for example, a database. So how hard is it to create a database in our cloud? I'll show you. So you're going to go pick a database, You can pick from different editions. You have to tell us the version of the database. You have to tell us the name of the database, and then we create it for you. So I'm going to create a version 12 database in the cloud, and I picked Enterprise Edition, so we just created one. You can also create many databases, and we also support things like real application clusters. So now that I've created the database, I need to create a middle tier, what's called an application tier. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to create one. I'm going to launch a compute instance. We have various types of compute instances. We have physical servers. We have virtual machines. And we're going to pick a specific type of instance and create one. So in this case, we picked virtual machine, not a physical server, just a hypervisor instance. It's running Oracle Linux. I create and upload my SSH key. I created it. I'm going to create a second one. They're now started. So now that I have multiple instances, I want to attach storage to it. How do I attach storage? Well, I can go in and say, I want to attach storage. And to create storage, I'm going to pick block storage. We have two kinds, ultra-fast block storage, which is all flash, or spinning disk. So here in this environment, I picked the high-performance storage. I attached it to the compute. Okay, lastly, so now I've attached some more instances. They're all running on that network that I created. Last piece, I want to attach a load balancer in front of it. So I can come in and attach a load balancer in front. And then we've set up your private environment. Here is the load balancer. Think of it as a software-based big IP that load balances HTTP and other protocols. So what did I do? Through an API, I allowed it to create a private data center running in our cloud. You created a compartment that isolated your application workload. You then defined a big virtual network. You made it accessible from the internet to the gateway. We carved that big network up into subnets and attached to that subnet a database, compute, storage. And because you had many instances, we added a load balance in front to allow you to load balance. So our vision for cloud-based systems is to give you the capability to get infrastructure without having to have your own physical machines, your own data centers. And what we've really done is taken an entire data center, put the computers together, expose the hardware through an API, allowing you to make the hardware programmable and create a virtual data center. The second piece that we've been working on for the last 10 years has been what to do with our platform. So many people asked us, what we'd really like to be able to do with your platform is to be able to use your platform without having to spend so much money operating your platform. So today, if you imagine you are using the Oracle database, for every dollar or rupee that you pay Oracle, you spend many more resources in people responsible for installing this, configuring it, backing up the system, patching it, setting up disaster recovery, doing data encryption, all of these things. Now, those people could be used for much more effective things. They could be building new applications. They could be tuning the database. They could be making your application run better. So what did we do? We believed that, we thought about it and said, imagine that we could give you a platform to build new applications and cloud-based services. But in doing that, eliminate all of the manual work that is required to install things, configure things, patch things, back up things, encrypt things, do all of that, but not to do it ourselves, but to have the software do it automatically for you. And so the platform as a service is really about giving you a complete platform to build cloud-based services. It has these 8 parts. But the most important thing about the platform is that it eliminates all of the manual work associated with creating and running and managing these things by doing it in the software. So let's look at these 8 pieces. You can manage data in our cloud. You can build applications. You can do analytics. You can store and manage large quantities of data. You can enable your applications to be accessible from the new browser that Munish was talking about, called a chatbot, and messaging. You can share documents. You can integrate your systems with other companies, all of them through the cloud. So let's start with data management. We obviously give you the ability to run the Oracle database in our cloud for both transaction processing and data warehousing very efficiently and with very large-scale databases. The largest database we run in our cloud today is for a telecommunications company that's running a 246 terabyte database in our cloud. So we can run not just small databases, but very large-scale databases. How small a database can you run in our cloud? You can get a database which is just a few schemas for less than $100. But you can also run a very, very large-scale system. Can you run open source databases? Of course you can. You can run MySQL, you can run Cassandra, you can run HBase, you can run a variety of different styles of databases, not just Oracle in our cloud. To build applications in our cloud, we give you the ability to build applications in a variety of different languages: Java, Ruby, Go, JavaScript, Node.js. You can build any kind of application, and you can run it in the cloud. We also support open source for app dev. The most important thing, we allow you to build what we call DevOps. You can check in code into our developer cloud, build the code automatically. If the build is successful, it can deploy automatically to our cloud and run it. So it streamlines how your developers can deploy code quickly into the cloud and make changes to that code as part of this development pipeline. Now, here are examples of people who run database in our cloud. Let's hear from one of them.
We're using Oracle Cloud is in the dev and implementation space. The Oracle Cloud Service allows us to deal with these unpredictable peaks in implementation activity by allowing us to procure, implement, and manage the infrastructure without having to provide those services in-house ourselves. Oracle Java Cloud Service and the Oracle Database Cloud Service brings us speed and flexibility, which ultimately brings us quicker time to market for our clients. The additional benefit is that our development and implementation folks don't know if they're on the cloud or off the cloud. The processes and tools they use are precisely the same that they use on premises as they use in the cloud. So this is all seamless to our entire organization.
So this is one of the large financial firms in North America, a hedge fund. They copy databases into our cloud. Every night they move 3 to 4 terabytes of data into our cloud. It takes them about 45 minutes, and they create new databases for their financial traders in our cloud every single night. Do they need machines? No, they get that in the cloud. Do they need a DBA to administer it? No, they don't, because it's operated for you in the cloud. And let me show you people who are building apps in our cloud. Here's a set of people building applications in our cloud. Here's people who are taking their existing enterprise systems and enabling them with mobile capability up in our cloud. Now, you may ask, can you show me how complicated this whole process is? So I'll show it to you. Back to this. Imagine you had an account in the Oracle Cloud, and we're going to show you how to build an application and scale the infrastructure for an application with a middle tier based on Java and an Oracle database. Okay, so here you go. You sign in. When you sign in, you get a console. The console shows you all the services that you are currently using and the amount of utilization you have on those services. So if you notice in this environment, we have MySQL configured, we have Oracle database, we have Source Suite, which is our middleware, and we also have a Java instance. So I said, look, I'd like to create more instances of Java. So when you go down on the Java instance and drill down, we see there's an instance called My Java Cloud Service DB. Okay, so I'm now going to create a service. Now when you create a service, we have something called a template. A template allows you to specify not just I need a Java environment. You can also say I need a database to go along with it. And you can define the interrelationship between all the components that you need in order to stand up the application. Okay, so here we go. We have a template Java Cloud Service. And it allows you to define, for example, for production, we have a template that clusters the application tier and clusters the database so you get high availability. So here it is, the JCS cluster DBCS template. I'm going to choose that, and I'm going to say create an instance. What it shows you first is a graphical representation of what you're going to create, so you can see if you're comfortable with that. Looks good, so I'm going to create it. We ask you in one screen a set of configuration details that you need to tell me. For example, what version of the database do you want to use? How big is the database? How much storage? How much compute? How big is the application tier? Once you specify about 10 to 12 parameters, we confirm it and create it. So we've now created this stack for you. Okay? This stack can be extremely complex if you want. You can set up Oracle RAC clusters. You can set up disaster recovery between a primary data center and a disaster recovery location. You can set all of that up, but it's done for you through the software. To create a 2 to 4 node Oracle RAC cluster and a 4 to 8 node middle tier cluster takes us about 30 minutes. Okay, you can do the analysis of how long that takes you on your floor, which is often 2 to 3 weeks. And we do that for you through the software. Now, once you set it up, you can also look at the instance in more detail. So you can see it, and then one of the common things we're asked is, can I see the application server through my WebLogic console? Can I see the database through Enterprise Manager? All the tools that you use today to run and manage these software on your data center are also available in the cloud. And one of the common things we're asked is, can you help me with auto-scaling this? Because I don't want to be monitoring the system all the time. If the system is running short of compute or storage, can you scale it for me? So we're going to show you how to do that. Okay? What we're going to do is go in and create an auto-scale rule. Okay, so what is the rule? The rule says monitor the cluster size, and if CPU utilization goes over a certain percentage and it stays above that percentage for a certain period of time, then scale it out. And if it goes below it and stays below that number, then scale it back down. So we auto scale it. We have created the rule. Now our software is monitoring those instances. And if you find that CPU is going above, it will scale it out. So you can define the same rule. You can do it on memory. You can define it on database statistics, whatever you like. Okay, so we've now created it, and we can test we can run a load test to see does it actually work. And here is the audit trail that we generate every time we scale out a system or scale it back down. We generate the report in an audit trail so that you can look at it to see how's my system performing and when did you take this capability on it. Okay, so here it is. We've generated a load test. You can see that we're responding and scaling out and scaling back down. And all of that data is given to you in an audit trail so you can compare it and monitor and administer it. So what have we done with platform? What we've really done with platform is eliminate the need for humans to have to do a lot of low-level work to install things, configure things, patch things, back up things, set up disaster recovery. All of that is being done for you through the software. And the software uses machine learning to monitor the systems, and then based on patterns that we see, we're auto-scaling things up, down, managing resources, and alerting you if you need to take some action. By doing that, we're broadening the reach of our technology to many more people, because you don't need all this expertise in order to be able to use Oracle anymore. So the same experience I showed you for database and app dev can also be used for other services. You can do it for integration technology, for analytics, for system management. So for example, take analytics. Our vision is pretty simple. You should be able to move data of various kinds into a data lake based on Hadoop. You can also stream data in through our Event Hub service, which is based on a technology called Kafka, allowing you to stream data of various kinds into the cloud. When you get data into the data lake, and before you put it in there, we provide you a tool called data preparation and cleansing. It allows you to clean data before it gets into the lake so that the data doesn't get dirty, and the data lake has clean data for you to do analysis with. Now that you have data centralized in the lake, you can do 3 styles of analysis. You can run calculations in Spark, in Hive, in MapReduce. You can run machine learning models on top of this data. And then finally, for your end users, you can visualize the data using our data visualization cloud service. Similarly, to integrate, imagine you have some systems in our cloud. You're using Oracle's AERP cloud, and you want to connect it to a back office system. You can integrate in 2 different ways. First is you can use our API catalog to define and publish REST APIs. Then you can use our integration bus to connect these systems together. You can add workflow and process control on top of that. So that we call that integrating services using our service-oriented architecture toolset, but running in the cloud. The second way is if you just want to move data. You can move data using Golden Gate that is available as a cloud-based service. You can also run our ETL tools in the cloud. And so you can move data into and out of our cloud in a variety of different ways. Here are people who do analytics in our cloud. And here are people who integrate different services in our cloud with other systems. Now let's hear from a particular customer, Stitch Fix, which is a design studio that makes clothing, custom makes clothing. And they use our cloud as well as artificial intelligence to optimize how they're designing clothing for people.
We are a personalized fashion company, so anything that you want to order or any clothing garment that you want, we'll be the ones to style you. We chose Oracle as our ERP platform, and part of that we chose to use the Oracle integrated cloud services and the Java cloud services to integrate our systems for our business applications. So with Oracle Cloud Services, now these integrations are automated and we are able to process the files seamlessly, and there is very little manual intervention except for monitoring the system.
There are many organizations here in India who are using our infrastructure and platform services. IOCL, Safe Express, Thomas Cook, All of these companies, there are hundreds and hundreds of them. There are many of them here at the event talking about how they're mobile enabling applications, building new applications using our database in Java Cloud, State Bank of India as a customer. So I would suggest you attend some of those sessions and hear from some of these customers on how they're using our cloud infrastructure and platform to build new capabilities. The third part of our portfolio in the cloud, application software as a service. Software as a service. We wanted to build a new suite of applications from the ground up to allow people to get 6 different capabilities. You should be able to define your financial plan, manage your financial budget, do financial reporting in the cloud. We call that enterprise performance management. You should be able to run ERP, general ledger, procurement, project accounting in the cloud. You can run human capital management, recruiting, core HR, payroll, a variety of different functions out of the cloud. You can run your manufacturing and supply chain from the cloud. You can run CRM in the cloud for B2B or B2C. We have verticalized these applications. As you know, CRM for a bank is very different from CRM for a manufacturing company. Accounting standards are different in different parts of the world. So not only have we specialized these applications for different industries, but we've also localized these applications for the Indian market. Yesterday, we made an announcement of our ERP cloud supporting Indian statutory requirements. Our HR cloud and payroll already supports the statutory requirements of the Indian market. And today we have a number of companies using these applications in the cloud. Let's look at a few specific details of some of the capabilities we offer. So let's do ERP. So many people asked us, why would Oracle rewrite an ERP system? You know, accounting hasn't changed. Why would you rewrite an ERP system? So the reason we chose to rewrite ERP was very simple. People were using general ledgers to consolidate financial transactions. And general ledgers were very good at that. The new cloud-based system supports that. But the request that people made all the time to us was, I can't do reporting off the general ledger. When I close my books, I still have to extract data from the ledger, put it into a data warehouse. It takes me a long time to consolidate my financial results, and it takes me weeks to close my books. So the question that people asked us was, can you make the ledger not just a source of financial consolidation, meaning consolidating transactions, but can you make it a system on which I can report? So we did. The new ledger in ERP Cloud allows you to report on your numbers in real time. So how quickly can you report? You can sit in front of the ledger in Excel and report live. Can you close your books every day? You can close your books every hour if you want. You can close your books every day. As a result of which, your ledger becomes not just a system that you use after the fact to run your books, but it actually becomes a system you use to govern your business every day. Second piece, supply chain manufacturing. You can design products in our cloud with our PLM, Product Lifecycle Management. You can then do demand planning and supply planning in our cloud. You can buy things that you require as spare parts to manufacture things. You can run discrete manufacturing. You can do logistics and transportation management. You can do all of that, including managing your warehouses from the cloud. So you can manage your entire design to delivery manufacturing supply chain lifecycle from our cloud. Human capital management. Our vision for human capital management is very simple. You should be able to find the best talent with sourcing, recruit them with recruiting, onboard them into your organization. Once you onboard them, you give them compensation, benefits, you manage payroll, and then you handle self-service for the employees. You also give them goals so they can develop their careers, do talent management, succession planning. All of it in one system running in the cloud. Lastly, CRM. What's our vision for CRM? You start with clean customer data in a customer master. You prepare content for marketing using our content preparation and personalization solution. You build marketing campaigns. If your company is in B2B, you go out with marketing and bring leads and opportunities to your sales team. If your company is in B2C, you go out with marketing and bring people to your e-commerce system. Once they come to sales, you can sell them products, you can configure price and quote them, you can handle order management, you can handle customer service, you can even dispatch technicians to handle repairs with field service. One integrated system you to offer better customer experience because your marketing people, your sales people, your service people, they all know what the other parts of the organization are doing in interacting with the customer. Now, who are customers? These are a number of people running ERP in our cloud. Let's hear from one of these customers.
Oracle's ability to deliver targets against mobile ad identifiers has scaled our business dramatically. That allows our sales team to go out, identify opportunities, and we can then create those targets more or less on the fly. Previously, the turnaround on these was 3-4 weeks. Being able to turn them around within 48 hours and put them into action and then refresh them on a more than daily basis has made our system a lot more flexible to the advertiser's needs. Pandora is able to deliver better value for our marketers by targeting the ads that we're delivering. By supplying us targets at scale, Oracle is helping us provide those clients with better value.
Here are customers running supply chain in our cloud and human capital management. Human capital management, for example, Bharti Airtel, Tata Sky, Apollo Hospitals here in India are all running HR in our cloud. Let's hear from Club Corp, a human capital management cloud customer.
Our legacy solutions needed a place to live that was secure, that could be efficiently hosted, and so those components made sense for us to migrate to the Oracle Infrastructure as a Service. Where we had solutions that required some upgrades, we were able to take those solutions and migrate those to the Oracle Platform as a Service. And then where we truly were pushing the innovation envelope to deliver a better member experience or to acquire clubs faster, we were able to take advantage of not only software as a service from Oracle, but also integrating very efficiently with third-party solutions. And all of that could operate as a cohesive whole.
Lastly, CRM. Here in India, Thomas Cook, Reliance Capital, Mercedes-Benz, Kotak Mahindra Bank, they all use CRM in our cloud. And here are a number of customers using CRM in our cloud. You've obviously heard of Pinterest. Pinterest is a very popular social network. They run their CRM in our cloud. Let's hear from them.
Pinterest is a fantastic place. It's really the world's catalog of ideas. So in 2016, we at Pinterest established a relationship with Oracle to really demonstrate the value of all advertising on the platform in terms of driving online and offline sales. What Oracle is really helping us do is deliver that value and prove that Pinterest is a great place for advertising to happen. And really that's been a great thing from a partnership perspective that drives a virtuous cycle of how businesses help provide content, which helps pinners in return.
So you may ask, can you show me, if I were to use this application, what would my experience be like? So I picked human capital management. Okay? Now, why did I pick human capital management? It's the only application in a company that every employee uses. Now, before we started the work on human capital management, one of the obvious things that we thought about was there are only two applications in every company that every employee has access to. One is human capital management, or HR. The other one is email. People use email every minute of every day. HR, they use twice a year. Once to see if they got a paycheck. Second time to see if their boss gave them a raise. So we thought, how do we make human capital management something much more useful than that? And so we built a system. So let me show you to you. If you had an account with our human capital management system and you logged in as a manager, here's what you would see. The first thing you would see is an analytics dashboard that showed you all the things that you needed to be alerted about. On the left side, you see your team, the goals and objectives you had set for them, and where they are relative to that. You can see, for example, the talent review that you're conducting and what the status of your employee base is relative to the talent score. You can look at your hiring pipeline. You can even look at things like revenue and forecasts and how you're doing relative to them because they guide your hiring plan. So I'm just going to shift aside learning and rearrange it so it's easier for me to see. And one of the interesting things I see is that we've got a revenue shortfall in Europe of 4.9 million, and I need to look at how my headcount plan looks like relative to that, because I need to hire more people to staff there. And normally, if you want to do analysis of headcount, you'd have to go to a separate system called a data warehouse. And you'd have to ask a separate person called a reporting person to build you the reports to see that data. In the new application, it's right there in the system. So let's drill down on the headcount plan. And you can see how our headcount has been trending. And you see that we've got headcount growth. And you can also see the distribution of the people by different functions in the organization. Now I want to drill down in more details. So I'm going to drill down in more detail. And this data is coming live off the HR system. You don't have to build an ETL. You don't have to go to a separate system called a data warehouse. You don't have to build custom reporting. All of these are standard reports we deliver out of the box. So you can see on the left side, the different geographies in which we have staff. On the right side, the different key performance indicators. Now I look at this data and Europe looks okay. I do need to take a look at North America. So I'm going to pick the United States, and I'm going to drill down even further on the United States. And when we look at it, on the left side, this data is reflective of a mix where we have a lot of product development there, but it also shows that we have some issues in how our attrition has been trending over a number of quarters. Because it spiked up a little bit and now it's dropped down. So I've got some work that I'm going to talk to my HR team to take care of how our attrition looks like and how our compensation structure looks like in North America. So the first thing, in the new HR system, managers get all the analysis about their team, hiring, retention, attrition, talent scores, live off the system, without having to wait on people to build them reports, without requiring a data warehouse. And because it's coming live off the HR system, the data is 100% accurate. There is no argument about, I thought I had 15 people and you only showed me 12. because it's coming off the system. It's not coming off a separate system called a warehouse where the data may be out of date. Okay, so that's the first set. Now, it's an HR system. So what other things does it offer? For example, you can look at your team. So one of the common things that you're thinking about is, well, I'm going to hire a lot of people because I have to staff up for growth. When I bring on new people, I need to train them. So the first thing I'm going to look at is what learning curriculum am I going to give people? And here is sales training, for example, that you're going to offer in Europe. We have a variety of different kinds of training. We have statutory training. Statutory training is where the organization requires people to take the training. But they can also be training that employees recommend to other employees because they found it useful, and it's not required to be statutory training. How easy is it to take these classes? Simple as watching YouTube. You can go on, click on a video, watch it, and if you learn it, you've developed your career. So learning is built into the system. Both statutory learning and employee recommended training. Because often employees recommend much better classes than are defined statutorily for the company. Now, we've also got a built-in social network inside the application so that users can rate and rank these classes. And you can see which classes are popular and which ones are not. Now that I've taken care of looking at my hiring and what my learning systems look like, I want to take a look at my team. So here's my team. You can see the different applications. As a manager, I have access to self-service. And one of the things I'm going to drill down is my team. So you can look at all the employees in your team. Easy to access or reach any of them because their contact information is right there. I'm going to take a look at one employee, Jen Jacobs. I want her employment history. I don't have to go and ask my HR person, please tell me how long she's been at the company, when did she get a salary increase, did she do good performance reviews? All of that information is part of the application. It's right there for you to be able to see it. So we see her development objectives, and for instance, if you want to give her feedback, you don't have to wait once every 6 months to give somebody feedback. If she did a good job on something and you want to say congratulations, you can do it right then and there. It'll be recorded in the system, so later on when you come to do the formal performance review, all that information is collected. So employee feedback becomes an ongoing process rather than a process that happens once every 6 months or once a year. Career development becomes a process that happens all the time. Now, I go back. One of the common things people ask us for now is companies increasingly want to manage work-life balance. HR teams are asked, please take a look at employees within my organization and understand if they're overworking and give us a set of solutions to manage work-life. So one of the common things that HR organizations say is, hey, I'd like to build a set of applications to enable employees, for example, to volunteer, because that's a common thing to improve work-life balance. Before we built the system, HR would have to go outside of HR and build a completely bespoke application for that. Now we integrate that in the system. So here's an example. This is something that Oracle's employees do. We've got a volunteering system. You can come in as an employee and register for different kinds of volunteering programs. If you're a manager who's competitive, you can even set up competitions between employees and set them up as development objectives to say every employee needs to take 15% of their time or 10% of the time and volunteer. And all of that is then recorded in the system, so it can become part of the employees feeling that they're improving their work-life balance and that they are fostering a sense of community within their company. So human capital management. What did I show you? I showed you 4 things that today's HR systems traditionally have not provided. The first one is manager self-service. I wanted to see my recruiting status, my attrition status, my compensation picture. I didn't have to call anybody. The analytics were delivered inside the application. I then needed to say, look, I'm hiring a lot of people. In order to hire a lot of people, I need to train them. I can build learning curriculum for my employees based on their job profiles and roles inside the system. Third, I want to look at my team. I wanted to look at how they're developing. I wanted to give them feedback. I don't need to wait and do it once every 6 months or a year. I can do it inside the system. I can do it so that it's continual improvement for employees. And then lastly, I can also integrate other applications, which are not necessarily part of HR, but part of what an employee experiences HR in the system. If you were an employee and you wanted to submit your vacation balance, like I want to go on vacation today, I want to look at my payroll slip, I wanted to take absence, I want to approve my expense report and see if my expense report was approved. I want to look at whether my manager gave me feedback. You don't need to even go to a browser. From your phone, we've got applications that let you do all of the employee self-service that you need to do. And that's bringing HR to the employee, self-service, every minute of every day. This, therefore, is an integrated stack of cloud services: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, application software as a service. So you're probably thinking, look, my organization would love to use these cloud-based services. There are a number of other companies, as I said, in India using these cloud-based services. We are also bringing them to a data center. But if you're an organization that's not yet comfortable putting data in a public cloud, and you're thinking about, can I get this in my data center floor? We can do that too. All of the capability I showed you, infrastructure, platform, ERP, HR, CRM, cloud, can run on your data center floor through what we call the Oracle Cloud Machine and Oracle Cloud at Custom. Same functionality, same software, delivered to you as a cloud service. You don't buy a hardware box, you pay for it as a subscription. You don't manage the hardware box, we do it for you. It's the exact same software that runs in the cloud. So who is using that today? Let's hear from the State Bank of India.
State Bank of India, it is an iconic institution, not just in India, but also globally. Today, we do 10,000 transactions every second. Our database is probably one of the biggest in the world. When we do what I call new age banking, we will have to continuously benchmark ourselves to the global standard. We will have to follow a very stringent procurement process. So this used to take a lead time of between 6 months to 12 months to give me the hardware only. Thereafter again software, there is again integration process, there is an adaptation process. All these, used to make the delivery cycle of a particular application anywhere between 9 months to 18 months. So we needed some kind of a platform which gives us an on-premise solution, yet has all the virtues of a public cloud. And we found that these pain points are very well addressed by a Oracle Cloud Machine.
So if you are a company that wants to use the Oracle Cloud, but your executives or your industry is not yet allowed to use the public cloud, you can do what they're doing. Use the same software, you get all the benefits of the capability I talked about, but on your floor. Now, because of the demand that we're seeing in the cloud, we've had very, very strong growth in customers. And we've had very strong growth in usage. Okay? Just to give you a sense, every night, every single night on the Oracle Cloud, we processed last quarter 55 billion transactions. Every day, we process 55 billion transactions. Let me ask, how much is that growing every month? It's growing by 1.25 billion a month. So by the end of May, it'll be at 60 billion a day. Okay, so how many transactions is that? If you take all the people in the world and assume they did 6 credit card transactions a day or 8 credit card transactions a day, it's still larger than all of them. And we're adding about 1 billion a month. And that is because of the demand that we see from the growth of the cloud and the ease with which you can get capability delivered to you. So our vision for computing is very simple. We have really advanced infrastructure and hardware. We have very strong platform technology. We have very deep and capable application software. But we wanted to transform the way that people could access this. What stood in the way of people accessing it, the first one was large companies could have their own data centers, but smaller companies couldn't afford data centers. So we said, imagine that a small company could use a browser or a phone and build a virtual data center that runs in the cloud. And through that, they could get infrastructure, network, compute, storage with amazingly high performance. And all you have to do is access that through an API or GUI. That's infrastructure as a service. The second thing that stood in the way is, even if we gave you infrastructure as a service, if you didn't have skilled people who could administer the software, patch it, back it up, monitor it, you wouldn't have the ability to use this platform. So we built the platform as a service to give you a complete platform to build cloud-based services, but without needing all of the expertise to run and manage the software, because our software does it for you. We showed you how easy it was to create application stacks and databases in the cloud. The second piece. Third piece, if you wanted to run ERP or HR, supply chain, CRM, or all of these together, you can also do that in the cloud. And through this, we believe that we will enable every person in the world to get access to our technology, whether they work at a university, as we have with the students at the Birla Institute in Palani, or at many startups who participate in our Startup Accelerator, or many of the largest companies in India. We take this technology and make it accessible to every person. And all they needed was a browser or a phone. And that's our vision for where we're taking Oracle technology going forward. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Executive Vice President Systems Oracle, John Fowler.
Hi. Thank you, everyone. And I am so glad to be back here in Delhi. And thank you so much for hosting me. You've seen Safra, Thomas, and I, and a huge Oracle contingent of employees here. Why are we all here? Because we're excited about helping and partnering with the digital transformation of India. Now, I'm part of the engineering team at Oracle, so I'm going to spend a little time talking about some of the ways we think in engineering to build technologies to help enable that digital transformation. We're in the middle of a whole new set of technologies being available for customers in cloud computing. To me, I see cloud computing as one of the digital transformation technologies that enable you to take services and software capabilities and deliver it to customers. We are growing rapidly in our cloud computing. It includes, for example, one of the world's largest telecommunications companies, in which we just signed a strategic agreement last week to transform how they run the Oracle database and how they're going to transform their business internally. Let me step back and talk to you a little bit about some of the technologies behind this and how we think. Starting with the realities of enterprise computing. So enterprise computing is not a simple thing. You don't have simple applications. You don't have simple requirements for performance and availability and security. You can't change to something overnight. We understand that here at Oracle. We're the only company in the world with a broad set of on-premises and cloud technologies. And the way we think is, how do we enable these so you can use them where you need them? So, we have a full suite of products for traditional on-premise computing, where you run them together with a partner. And as Thomas talked about, we've built a broad set of cloud services extending up to including SaaS. And then more recently in the middle, we've been working on a concept called Cloud at Customer, which enables you to have a cloud business model and cloud operations, but use the local latency and privacy of your data center. So let's break these down. First of all, I'm responsible for engineering hardware, and I can tell you flat out, horizontal integration does not reduce cost and complexity. This is the way we've traditionally done computing for decades. Take a selection of best-of-breed companies, put them together in your data center, end up with something unique. The future of computing and the requirements for performance and security and operation mean that you're going to do more and more by products that are vertically integrated. A cloud data center is kind of the ultimate of a completely vertically integrated runtime environment, software and hardware. Across the spectrum, you see this today in the way people are building products to build more and more functions into them. And this is the only way to achieve the next generation. So within this landscape, Oracle is the only company in the world that's doing a complete set of software and hardware on premises and cloud, but we're also deeply co-engineering it. One of the things that Thomas does is Thomas is responsible for running our whole cloud environment. As a side effect of running our whole cloud environment, we live, eat, and breathe every feature, every capability, and our economics are directly impacted by how well we engineer the products. It's kind of interesting. If you look at Oracle for decades, we've built products, but as I like to say to my team, you guys don't operate anything. You may be brilliant engineers, but you don't operate them. Well, we operate now. We know what it's like to operate infrastructure, and we've learned how hard it is and how expensive it is. And we're now the only company in the world that's applying that. And this means that as you buy our products, you take advantage of that operational expertise. If you look at our product sets, and I'm not going to talk about all the products, it's much too long, but let me just touch on a few so you can talk about what we know. Exadata is now in its 6th generation, and it delivers sensational database I/O performance. As an engineered system, it's a completely integrated software and hardware combination to give you capabilities for running the database you simply cannot achieve with horizontally integrated components yourself. Why is this so important to me? Well, it's not because we're a database company. Well, we are a database company, but that's not the primary reason. The primary reason is the database is commonly the most expensive, most difficult, most complex area of your infrastructure to run. How it implements high availability, how it implements data security, how easy it is to upgrade, have a material impact on your whole data center. In addition, application properties of performance and latency and service availability are often inherited from the database. Again, this is not a magic idea. If I make the database run better, all your apps and all your services run better. How do we run full-scale SaaS inside Oracle? How do we run the level and number of clients that you see in our cloud? It's because we run the database tier on Exadata. That gives us an inherent advantage in technology gives us an inherent capability to deliver enormous numbers of database transactions at the most efficient cost. And you'll see that continue to evolve along these lines. We also develop our own microprocessor. So we're the only company in the world that partners aggressively with Intel. So we build products using Intel microprocessors, and then it gives you the volume economics and reach of Intel. Plus, we develop a RISC processor, and we put in features and functions to enable things like security and database integration into the processor. You guys have a complete choice. So when you partner with us, you know that you can gain advantage to either of those things, and all of our customers are using these commonly together. One of our focuses, most recently in our silicon design, has been in security. So we'll always keep a focus on performance and efficiency. But Larry has really pushed us to do a great deal more engineering around security. We believe information security is now the #1 IT challenge. And as Larry has said to me multiple times, that people will make their infrastructure choices on the basis of security in the future and not on the basis of performance and cost. So historically, that's what we always worried about. You know, how much does it cost? What does it perform like? Is it reliable? Et cetera, et cetera. That's how often infrastructure choices are made. Infrastructure choices are now made on the basis of security. So if you look at the job of a CIO or an IT manager, in the future and today, if you lose the information of your customers or otherwise compromise your brand, that is it for you. Performance and high availability are secondary objectives. One of the things we've done is we've produced silicon assist for security in the form of a unique capability to prevent malware as well as other kinds of intrusions in hardware, and that's available now. Each of these product lines we put together and enhance in other ways. One of our brand new offerings is to bring the Spark microprocessor and Linux over to the Exadata family. Brand new product, we're taking this performance and security, exposing it as a part of Exadata. Customers have a choice here, they can use whatever they want. This is just an example of how we take some unique technology all the way to the microprocessor level, what we've done the database and REST, and provide a completely unique database platform that has much higher efficiency for IOs and higher security. Another reason that I'm very focused on this vertical integration concept is security. Now think about it for a second. I build the hardware, I build the firmware, I build the software, I build the database. I build and control the entire stack. Besides performance, the other thing that I can do is I'm able to ensure that that entire stack is compliant. So if you're building a horizontally integrated environment, the individual security of all the different components coming to different vendors, you get to validate yourself, just like you do with performance. With engineered systems, I'm able to go get security and audit compliance for an entire platform. And this is another reason that we believe vertical integration will be the future of hardware, is because that's the only way to provide deep and compliant security across an entire product stack, which we provide today. So, what's one of the interesting side effects here? For the first time, you actually can have secure enterprise infrastructure. All the hardware and software, audit and compliance, fully encrypted across all the tiers, integrated with data storage fully encrypted, and then have a set of management tools that you control across those. And this is how we run our own data centers, if you run our cloud computing. We don't get your private key for encryption. Our employees don't have access to your data. We only have operational access. You can implement exactly that same level of security controls and capabilities in your data center. Now, how do we think about cloud computing? And I'll give you a thought. Here's just a security thought for you. Historically, security's had a very simple idea. Most people are trustworthy, but you might have some bad apples. You might have some people who are untrustworthy. That's how we've always been thinking for decades. You trust your employees, you trust people you've had for a long time, you trust people, but some people are bad. Our notion of security is different. We assume everyone's bad. Everyone's bad. Build security into every part of the layer. Assume your employees are bad. I know that's a radical concept, but that's how you have to think. We know how the major break-ins have happened in different parts of the world. Ultimately, the common mode for a break-in is a compromised employee. So therefore, you have to start thinking about this over the next decade, because you're already behind, is how do I build an infrastructure that actually builds that level of security? We have that today. That's how we build our cloud computing. That's how we build the security capabilities into our engineered systems. We build advanced tools for you to take advantage of that. And this is going to be the most important topic for enterprise CIOs for the next decade. Your job and your brand hang in the balance. Another thing we've been doing as part of expanding our portfolio is expanding cloud computing to also use Spark and RISC. But we're not doing this just to run some random applications. As Thomas talked about, we have a rich set of services from PaaS to SaaS to infrastructure as a service. And what we're doing is doing the same thing we're doing with on-premise. We're enabling both x86 as well as RISC computing in a rich cloud infrastructure so that you have the choice of how you want to take advantage of these technologies. You get to go provision a set of services, use it across all of your different applications, and use them together with our rich set of services, all with just a click of the button. How you choose to do that and when you choose to do that is up to you. You have that choice. Now, most vendors are talking today about hybrid cloud. Hybrid this, hybrid cloud, hybrid cloud. Understand that Oracle's doing this a little bit differently. For us, a hybrid cloud isn't just a runtime environment where I have an application and I can go and move it and run it in another place. For us, a hybrid cloud is also about enabling a rich set of services around those applications that make the home very useful. But it's also about integrating the management tools and other parts of the infrastructure. Since we control the software as well, for example, for database, enterprise manager, and so on, we can integrate at different levels. So an example of this, one of the integrations that we did recently was around our storage product. And what we did was we announced a native integration to our storage cloud of our storage product. What does that mean? Well, it means that you can have an on-premises storage product, use it together, integrate with the database as a superior platform or other applications. But it can also simply do snapshots, replication, and transparent pools with our storage cloud. What does that make it? Is it a cloud product? Whatever. It's a different level of integration than just moving some data from one place to another and moving an app. It allows you to find the seamless differences between those. So we've been working hard to connect these. How do we connect cloud and on-premises computing? Obviously, you can move software applications. We have integrated management tools to manage your on-premises computing. You can extend those to the cloud. We've integrated key parts of the technology like the storage. But we've also made it possible to run exactly those same cloud services in your data center. So we are not about saying yes or no to cloud or on-prem, but saying it to all. In this, we've developed a very comprehensive view of what do you have to do and what do we have to do. Since we run a superscale data center ourselves, worldwide, we know what's involved with the operational aspects of that. So we know what we want to extend to you. So if you do a complete on-premises infrastructure yourself with a partner, you get the whole page. You get to do it, which is fine, right? That's how we've been doing it for a long time. If you want to be on-premises, but you want me to help, you can do the cloud at customer, in which case it's in your premise, but we take over everything in red. And we do that as a part of the operational model. You take a minority of tasks and do them yourself. And then obviously if you're using our superscale cloud. We've integrated these, since we do both on-prem and cloud. We've integrated our public cloud and then on-premise cloud services, so it's one tool. So I have an example here of a view of a provisioning tool. If you choose our on-premises cloud or regular cloud services, you're operating through the same set of tools. We think this is the future. The future is not an either or. Future isn't as, I have an on-premises data center, I'm going to go move it all to the cloud. I personally think that's quite impractical. The future is allowing you in your digital transformation to sit down and say, I need to build a new service, or I need to do something new for my employees, whether it's customer facing or internal facing. And then what is the spectrum of technologies I can use to apply to that? So from Oracle, we want to make that a seamless choice. So if the easiest thing for you is to operate an on-premise software to go deliver that service, that's perfectly okay. If you want to use our cloud services, that's perfectly okay. You want to use this integrated and bridged, that's okay. That's what the next 10 years will be like. As the emotion and the hype fades, this will become a pragmatic set of choices. You sit down and say, here's what I want to go accomplish in my digital transformation, and then here's a range of technologies that I can use to go do this. So database continues to be obviously a huge focus for us. And I just find it really interesting, all of the rhetoric around running a database, because I know that running a database is actually really hard, right? It's always a challenge to get the performance and security you want. It is where your data lives by definition. And by the way, you're only putting important data in the Oracle database, right? So how do you run this effectively? And where we are is to build and deliver the complete set of services, including high availability and security for the database, right? As you go and look at cloud providers and you go figure out how you're going to use this, this is a huge and important distinction. You are just going to be able to grow up with us, meaning no matter what scale you want to run on. Do you want to run on-prem? Do you have a lightweight database you want to run somewhere else? Do you need maximum availability? We are the people that are going to be able to run that. Now, how do I think about these things? It's funny, I say to my team, I say to customers, hey, we're not a products company, and they're always very puzzled. Let me explain. Oracle's a platform company. A product is a moment in time of a platform. What this means is you're constantly engineering at the platform level, like the Oracle database, like Java, like the hardware and storage interfaces. You have a platform, you maintain compatibility for the platform, you consistently then add capabilities to that platform. But it's important to know that the capabilities of the platform often come from foundation components. How good is the hardware? How stable is the microkernel? How good is the security? If you don't work on all these different foundation components, you don't end up with a great platform. If you have a great platform in middleware and database, one of the other side effects is you can run great software as a service. HCM, CRM, customer experience, supply chain, field enablement, ERP, we have a tremendous range of software as a service offerings. You, of course, are welcome to go implement these using traditional on-prem. For customers that don't have the skills or scale to do on-prem, you can use our cloud services to go run these. Our software as a service is going to consistently offer a better execution, better runtime environment, and better capability than others because we are so invested in the core foundation elements, like the database and Java and the hardware underneath them, from which they inherit properties of reliability, latency, security. You'll see us continue to add cloud services base. And if you think about Oracle's strategy, it's very clean. Broad range of software as a service and platform as a service, all built on a common foundation element. That common foundation element then made more capable by implementation using superior hardware engineering, and then you can buy these or run these as cloud at customer on-prem. It's actually a simple strategy. It's harder to implement. Obviously, there are many thousands of engineers working on this and billions of US dollars in R&D, but underneath it's a simple idea. Your best applications running on your best infrastructure and then enabled by your hardware and then consumed by either the cloud or on-premise computing. You'll see us continue to integrate across all of these layers, the management tools, infrastructure, and we'll keep blurring these. What's cloud computing? What's on-premise computing? How seamlessly am I going to be able to manage and move back and forth? Since you're running the same software in both places, you have a choice. If you try us with cloud computing and don't like us and decide you want to go on-prem or vice versa, you have the choice about that. We're the only company in the world that builds a super stale cloud, runs it ourselves worldwide across this depth of hardware and software. And then I get the pleasure or the pain, depending on how you look at it, of making sure all that works at that scale, and then you get to inherit that, whether it's in your on-prem computing or whatever. Our scale, no matter what, is going to be bigger than yours in many ways, because we're running these global data centers that aggregate millions and millions of clients on particular applications. But you can apply that scale here in India. You have tremendous scale. You have a huge consumer base. You have giant banks and telecommunications companies, and you can take advantage and leverage all that. So, how do we think? We think in the millions and the billions. Billions of transactions and millions of users, 24/7. I get the pleasure of building all the infrastructure hardware for these environments. We invest in the core platform elements of database, Java, and technologies around those to create a superior runtime environment and then have a broad range of services. I think the next decade for enterprise computing is about that. It's not going to be randomly switching between different applications, vendors, and implementations. It's going to be about a pragmatic and practical approach to, I have a set of services I want to go run. I want to go figure out how to go run those in a way that I can go beat my competition. I'm of course tremendously worried about performance and security. I want to use and work with and partner with a vendor that can take me on this journey, whether it's to use software as a service or to build entirely private infrastructure of my own applications and anything in between. The journey that we've been on in developing for our own applications helps all the other applications as well. The properties of performance and intrinsic security are not unique to Oracle. And so we have a huge opportunity and a jump on the competition in terms of what we put into our hardware and infrastructure technology in order to enable that next decade. I hope you join my team and the local team. We have lots of demonstrations in the demo centers. We have lots of sessions here at Open World. I'd welcome your comments and feedback. I'm john.fowler@oracle.com. I'd be happy to hear from you if you have comments and feedback. And hopefully we can help you in exploring these technologies, understanding the technical advantages we have, understanding how we use them to our own technical advantage, and how they can apply to your practical problem. And I want to thank you very, very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending this morning's keynote program. Please join us in Hall 18 for the exhibition. As a reminder, Oracle Code Keynote is taking place right here in Hall 14 at 11:30. We look forward to seeing you here.
PaaS, IaaS, Oracle, Oracle Cloud, PaaS, IaaS, Oracle, Oracle Cloud.